Hello, I'm Ivan Jimenez. I'm your cybersecurity analyst here at Mercury USA, and we're going to continue explaining the cybersecurity incident that we recently discovered. Okay, today the cybersecurity to give you a small recap of what happened. A web developer left his credentials hidden in a hidden web object. This web object was discovered by an attacker that was able to decode his credentials that he left there and gain admin access to the system. We're gonna today we already discussed those elements and we already discussed what happened. What we're gonna do today is demonstrate show the evidence of the system compromise, the indicators of compromise on the system. That's what we're doing today. Okay, so the first indication of compromise of the attack happened when our intrusion detection system detected that our web server was being scanned by an attacker for a search from a certain web address. Okay, and we're gonna look at the logs to demonstrate when um, a scan happened, when it took place. Okay, so here is the log files for the web server. We're gonna open this one. Right here, and what we find here is lots of code 404. Code 404 indicates that a page was requested, but it failed because the page was not there. It failed to deliver. So basically, he was sending, issuing many commands to access different web servers, that web pages and web objects that were not there, to find if he could find a hidden web object. Okay, so if we do a quick search here for code 404 and count, it has 9,230 matches. So that's the amount of time that he scanned the system for different web objects and pages. Okay, let's continue. The next thing we're gonna talk about is about startup files. Okay, startup files are programs that start on the moment you start the machine. We found a particular startup file in the startup folder, ivan.bat. That's a batch file that is designed to execute when the machine starts. If we go here to the startup folder, we see ivan.bat. And if we look here what the content of ivan.bat is, it says ncat connect to ivan.com and execute cmd.exe. Okay, so what we have here is a reverse beaconing. Basically, it Every time the machine starts, it connects to ivan.com and executes cmd.exe. Okay. We also can see that if we run auto runs on the system, we can see the different startup applications that start upon startup. Okay. So over here we have, here in auto runs, ivan.bat. Okay. This is just a different way to identify the different startup files. Okay. Let's continue. Now we're going to look at schedule tasks. Schedule tasks are in this folder, and we found this object here, project2, that is a startup object. A schedule task. Okay, so let's take a look what that means, project2. And what we have here, here's the, it is a schedule task that's gonna run every day. And it's gonna run again. The argument is connect to ivan.com and execute cmd.exe. Okay, so basically is scheduling the reverse beaconing that to connect to the attacker's machine every day at ivan.com and execute cmd.exe. The reason this happens, he put this here, is because it is easier to bypass the firewall when the connection starts from our network. So he created this schedule task to connect to the attacker system every day and report. That's called a reverse beacon. Okay, now let's take a look at the event viewer. We found some interesting things here in event viewer. On event viewer, we found event ID 4720. 4720 is when a new account is created, and it says right here, event 4720, security auditing, a user account was created. And what user account is that? It is Ivan admin. Okay, so let's continue investigating the event viewer. And we continue here with this event ID 4624 are different times that somebody logged in the system. And here is Ivan admin logging in the system. We have many instances of Ivan admin logging in the system. Okay. Now, we found a web object hidden in on the web server. And the hidden object is here in the web server files, and it's called index.htm. So when we open this index.htm object, this is what we found. We found the private RSA key or SSH key on those documents. What the attacker did is that he identified the location of where the RSA key was located, and he copied it here in this web object, so he could extract these credentials, not credentials, but a key. So the way the internet works, it is with a public and private key. Basically, what the public key can encrypt, only the private key can decrypt, and vice versa. So with this key, he can use this key and impersonate us. So it is of vital importance that we revoke this private key immediately, so he doesn't use this. He can also intersect messages and decrypt it with this private key, doing a man-in-the-middle attack. Okay? Okay, so that is the evidence we found. Let's summarize what we found. We found in the startup folder, we find ivan.bat to execute every time the system starts. We found on scheduled tasks, we found project 2 that it commands the machine to reverse beacon every day with the attacker machine on a daily basis. In the event viewer, we found a new account being created, Ivan Admin, and then we found many instances of Ivan Admin logging in the system. Also, we found that the SSH key or SA private key was compromised. Okay, so that is our web objects. That is what we found. So now what we have to do. First, this machine is trash. We don't know what other things are in there, so it needs to be reimaged from start. The SSH key needs to be revoked immediately to prevent malicious use of that key. Okay, now the whole process of authentication is broken. It needs to be rebuilt. No server should be logging in with a simple password and username. There should be a authentication process, multi-factor authentication process involved, including a AAA server, and the firewall, the connection to any server should be done only from our network. It should not be coming from outside the network. So the whole firewall rules need to be revised. So that happens. The DMC. I mean, I know that this is a forward-looking web server to handle the customers from outside, but to access it as an admin should only be done from our network, not from outside the network. And if a person, a web developer, wants to access that page, he should access it through a jump box in the firewall. Okay, so that's it for this discovery. Because of this object, we found that this machine was compromised, needs to be reimaged. The SSH key needs to be revoked immediately, and our authentication and firewall rules processes and rules need to be revised. And that's it for the project. Have a good day.